Have you seen Chuck Norris lately? He's still kicking butt and staying active well into his 80s. What's even more shocking is he looks more jacked than ever and seems to have more energy than guys half his age. And it's all thanks to Morning Kick, a revolutionary new daily drink from Roundhouse Provisions that combines ultra-potent greens like spirulina and kale with probiotics, prebiotics, collagen, and even ashwagandha. Just mix with water, stir, and enjoy. Unlike other green drinks out there, this one tastes exactly like strawberry lemonade and has hundreds of 5-star reviews. Go to roundhouseprovisions.com/save44 for up to 44% off your regular priced order. Plus, every purchase is backed by a 90-day money-back guarantee. So if you want to experience smoother digestion, a boost of energy, and just an overall healthier body, then go to roundhouseprovisions.com/save44 today. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Results can vary.
The following podcast may contain discussions supported by science that may be considered dangerous to some listeners and conspiracy theorists. Discretion is advised.
The 3 Down Greencast is brought to you by the Pile of Bones Brewing Company. Home delivery available in Regina at sassbeerdelivery.ca. Welcome to the 3 Down Greencast. You are listening to the internet's only Sergio Castillo podcast.
Yes!
I'm Joel Gasson with John Fraser as usual, and it is a very special episode of the 3 Down Greencast.
Yes.
We're not going to joke around. We're not going to really waste a whole lot of time getting into this one, as the day has finally come. The man, the myth, the legend, John's GOAT. Yes, one Sergio Castillo is going to join us on the 3 Down Greencast.
Joel, I have been so excited for this since he reached out after the post went semi-viral of me rocking his jersey at the curling trials, and it was just great to make contact with him. We've been texting for a while, which, again, when you're texting, like let's face it, we get to do something pretty cool here. Just the thought of texting with one of your favorite players, even if it's just arranging a podcast date, is pretty damn cool. I'm absolutely thrilled to have Sergio on, and it's an exciting day for me.
Mm-hmm. And before we get to all that, as usual, first, we still have to plug our sponsor, the Pile of Bones Brewing Company. Before we get into all that, John, what is in the glass this week?
In the glass this week, as usual, I figured this was a special occasion, and we're actually going to be doing the interview with Sergio on video, so I went with the official beer of the podcast, the Pile of Bones White IPA.
I have much of the same, as that shouldn't be much of a surprise, I guess,
Yep.
As we've kind of been going down that road a fair bit lately, as winter, at least the worst of it, definitely appears to be behind us, which is always nice, not quite probably as nice as it is in Texas, where we find one Sergio Castillo.
So we've been talking about it forever. This is a day I didn't think would come. As a giant fan of my man, Sergio Castillo, the first athlete we have ever had on this podcast, the only athlete we probably... No, who have we had?
First football player.
First football player. That's right. We're a football podcast that's ever had a football player before, and we'll never pass this day because it can't be topped. Sergio, thank you so much, my man. It's an absolute pleasure. Like, I'm pumped. I'm not going to lie. Been a fan of yours for a while. I'm pumped. Thanks a lot for coming on, man.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you guys having me on and, working with my crazy schedule. I know it's a little bit late at night, but, it's a pleasure to be here and, looking forward to chat about football, my journey and, and what crazy stories we have.
Oh, of course. Of course, we are brought to you by the Pile of Bones Brewing Company. For once, we can actually show it on video, having a white IPA. Sergio, I know you just got home from running your gym. You just got your little one down. So you probably didn't have time to pour one out, but what's in the glass for you? If, your nightcap, what's your favorite drink or go-to drink?
For me, it would be Topo Chico, which is, I guess, a club soda. Mm-hmm. And you mix it with tequila, and I honestly, I don't have a preference of tequila, but normally, Don Julio, you can't go wrong with that. No. And just a little bit of ice, a little bit of a lemon, and that. Honestly, I just need one drink, and it knocks me out because I hardly drink, so I am out quick.
I wish I still had that problem. So, of course, you are now We've been campaigning since the Grey Cup game that you should have been the MOP of that Grey Cup game. You were incredible. You were clutch. You brought something to Winnipeg for a second time, really, that they didn't have before. Can you just talk about what it was like to come to Winnipeg, when you found out you're coming to Winnipeg, and of course, winning the Grey Cup?
Yes. Just very fortunate to be in a situation where I got all the opportunities, to help the team out. It didn't matter if it was an extra point, a rouge, or or any of those 5 kicks, right? And we got very fortunate how we got the win in the fourth quarter, in the Grey Cup, because that was crucial. And as you can tell, our offense started rolling. And if we would have tried to hit a 45-yarder the other way, it would have I would have had to say a couple of Hail Marys, because that day it was brutal. But more than anything, just very fortunate to be put in a situation like that, and it was fun to see Zach do his thing, Caleros, in the fourth quarter, down by 12 points in the fourth, and for him to drive us down and to put us in a situation to where we end up winning. It's stuff that, you couldn't write any better than that. So just very fortunate to be part of a night like that, right? And it's a night I won't forget. And I remember when the interception happened, it was funny because I look at the replay and I thought I was jumping so high, and I was maybe coming 2 inches off the ground, and I was moving. It was definitely a special night.
Absolutely.
So, but I guess since then, I mean, obviously our boy John here has had a bit of a tough week as you've left his Blue Bombers, because he, got to do what's right for you, and sort of the situation that's now landed you with the Edmonton Elks after leaving Winnipeg.
Yes, I was really looking forward to coming back to Winnipeg, and and it just the cards didn't go that way, and just very fortunate to be in a situation where I know Coach Jones and G. Roy, have a relationship with them, so I felt very comfortable, with them, and from the moment that they reached out to me, because a couple of weeks ago there's this a big free agent kicking, punting, and snapping combine that's held every year in Arizona. It was 2 weeks ago, and I told myself, I want to give the NFL another shot. I feel like I did well, but obviously when you go to this combine, you have to be basically perfect, and I did good. I didn't do great. As soon as it was done, I called my agent. I'm like, I know I didn't have the day that I needed, so let's see what we can do to go back up north, right? And from the get-go, Edmonton came strong, and but going back to knowing G. Roy since 2019, because he helped me revive my career after by giving me a chance, because I tore my ACL in 2017 and was out for almost 2 years. And then Chris Jones, I met him back in 2015 with my first CFL tryout ever in Hebron High School in Dallas, Texas. And ever since then, even though I never played for him, we kept in touch. We had a relationship. So that was pretty cool to have, Coach Jones over the years, just message me after big games, after, in Winnipeg, 2015, my first game winner.
Yeah.
I
remember that one.
Yeah. When I had the Monday Night Football game against New England Patriots, he messaged me after the Grey Cup. He messaged me, and every time he got a promotion or did well, I would message him as well. So we've had that relationship, for years now. So it was kind of easy to go to Edmonton.
I guess the only sort of thing wondering left from Winnipeg was, did they offer you a contract at all?
They did, and it was just just like I said, Edmonton came in strong. And, just like I said, it's very fortunate to be in a situation where I am, where I can, take care of my family. And, if I can do this while kicking a football, I'm winning. My family's winning.
Yeah, it's a great spot to be in. You mentioned how G. Roy helped you out when you tore your ACL back in 2017. Could you elaborate on that a little bit more? Talk about what G. Roy did for you, Sergio.
Yeah, because, in 2017, tore my ACL. 2018, I went to I don't know if y'all remember the AAF, the Alliance of American Football.
Yeah. We're football nerds, absolutely.
We're like the 3 Canadians that probably watched it.
Right. my knee wasn't recovering well because I rushed my rehab going into Ottawa in 18. And after that, I went to Alliance. My knee was still not well, got cut. And honestly, like my knee, there was a point where like I could maybe put it straight about 80-70%. I couldn't lock the knee out. I would kick and the next day I couldn't walk, or I would do legs in the weight room and I couldn't walk. And I had told my girl, like, I'm done, because I'm to the point where like I just want to be able to walk, and like normal and jog and it wasn't until G Roy called later on and he's like, hey, we're struggling. It was after the first preseason game. We want to, we need some help, and we think you can be the answer. And had a horrible first preseason game. I think I went like 3 for 6, and then they eventually stuck with me. And that first game, I remember I was warming up on the bicycle and on the sideline, and he's like, "Prove me right. I stuck my head out for you, but I know you're going to do well." And just very fortunate for him to fight for me in that meeting room, back in BC.
That's awesome.
As maybe one of the few guys that has sort of run the gamut of football in North America over the last number of years, with your stops in the CFL, the NFL, the AAF, and the XFL. I mean, what's that sort of experience, especially, the XFL, there's a lot of talk about it and, its potential alliance with the CFL at one point. And, should the CFL go to 4 down, sort of, what do you think are sort of the advantages of every sort of different type of game having played them all?
I think the CFL, what it brings is, since there's only 3 downs, one, I think it's for specialists, it's a lot more fun in my perspective, because if we get to kick, we get to punt more, we have a say-so in the game, right? We can score more points, we can get the defense in a better field position by punting, and then as well with the Rouges, right? That's huge. Mm-hmm. So I love that aspect from the CFL, because I went from the college game, the American game, to Canada, and it's like I'm getting more action. I'm like, this is fun, right? And then you come back to the States, and it's just like, man, I don't get to kick a lot anymore. and part of it is because, you have the field goal post on the goal line, right? So once you hit the 50-yard line, you're 5 more yards and you're in field goal range, compared to, you're on the 40-yard line and, you're still kind of iffy on the field goal range on the state side, right? So, but, just to be able to play in all these leagues, I've always just tried to find a way to keep the dream alive. That was the main point behind every time I signed with a team, is like, okay, what can I do to keep on playing, right? So like I said from the get-go, just fortunate just to be playing. I just turned 31 in November, and hopefully I can keep doing this for many more years.
Absolutely. You mentioned the fun it is to play in Canada. One of the things that's always made me a fan of yours from the first time you came to save Winnipeg's kicking game is you look like you're having fun. Between the luchador masks, the outfits, even your tweet last week with the big old 10-gallon hat on, asking where the best tacos were. Like, that's one thing that's always drawn me to you. Is that kind of how you approach games, Sergio? It's just like, hey man, this is fun. Let's go have some fun. Is that a good read on you?
Yes, and it's my girl. She's a head coach for soccer, right? And she's just like, always got to be like, you got to be serious, focused. And she gets mad at me because I'm joking around on the sideline all the time, right? And I will say, when I went to New York, the first 3-4 games, because I was basically week to week, hey, you're gonna play this week, and the next week I didn't know till like a day before the game, hey, you're playing. And the first 3-4 weeks I really did not have any pressure on myself, and it wasn't until when I entered the last 3 games of the season, and the last 3 games that I played, there was about 7 games left. They said, Serge, the whole season is yours. And then after that, I put this pressure on myself to be perfect, which I had never done that in my career. Yeah. And then that's when I had that bad game against Seattle and I got cut. So going back to Winnipeg, the main question I asked myself is, can I be myself again? Which is, can I be that joking, that funny guy? And then there's times that I have serious conversations with guys on the sideline, like, hey, how's your family, this and that, and while we're in a game, which is me being myself, right? Yeah. So that was the main question, me asking, can I be myself, going back to Winnipeg. And for me, after the Calgary game, that's when I started feeling comfortable. I'm like, started feeling this is an old me where I can just be me, right? And then in the day of the Grey Cup, I woke up, I went to the gym, and I did a full back workout. Like I was just planning on doing the sauna and chilling. And I took some pre, and the juices started flowing. I'm like, all right, let's get a back workout. And after that, had breakfast with my family. We started watching Shrek. I only watched half of it, and I'll tell you, and I'll tie it into. You'll see
Yes,
why.
please do. I want to hear this now. I love Shrek.
I love Shrek. Me too. And so we start playing, and I just start joking around. I'm myself. We get to halftime. It's a longer halftime than usual, right?
Yeah.
So what I do, I finish watching the movie Shrek. So
that's outstanding.
When I started watching it, I'm like, okay, like it was just confirmation. Like I'm relaxed. I'm me. And I think if you can be yourself outside of your job, it can be just whatever job you have. You'll be able to bring the best version to your job, to your circle, to your environment, and at the end of it, you'll help impacting others.
No, 100%. You mentioned your girl being a soccer coach, and I know I saw that great video, and Joel actually was the first one to send it to me. You do some PA announcing for so it's pro soccer you do that for down in Texas in the off season?
It's it's a semi-pro indoor soccer team that we have here in Amarillo, Texas, and the Amarillo Bombers. And one of our buddies, James Parker, he owns a team, and he's the one that actually he repaired my ACL.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, Serge, I just bought this team. We need a PA. Can you come try it out if you like it?" I'm like, "Look, I'm gonna try it out because maybe I suck, and you don't want me. And so let's just say I'm on a 1-day contract." And that's how we did it. And it was funny. I'm like, "What's my limit? Like how much trash talk can I do?" And he's like, "There's no limit."
Oh, nice.
And then so I bring in the English, Spanish, Spanglish, flavor to it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the teams that we play, they're Latino. So and it's funny, once I start getting the players' heads, so now I'm getting them off their game, and it's been beneficial because we've ended up winning a couple close games, I think, because of that. So I feel like I played a part in those wins.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. Kind of just to rewind a little bit, I guess. I think a question that a lot of people may wonder, because you played with the New York Jets, is that organization as big of a mess as it seems from the outside?
The whole COVID situation was I think it threw everything off, because from the get-go, as soon as you wake up from 6 to 8 o'clock every day, you did COVID testing, right? So it was just, it was different because of that. You couldn't do a lot of stuff that you normally could during a regular season, right? So, I mean, we did the best we could. I had Coach Boyer, special teams coach. He was probably one of the best and funniest coaches to ever play for. And that helped me along, being myself from the get-go, right? So to be able to perform at a high level. So super cool, super chill. I will say this story, though. When we were playing against Kansas City, that was the second game that I was playing, and I had a dream when I was 12 years old. I was at Cesar Chavez Middle School. In this dream, I see my mom and my future wife watching me play, right? And I've had that dream every year, at least once or twice a year. But in that dream, my wife is pregnant. Mind you, I'm 12 years old. I don't know who my wife is, right?
Right.
Fast forward, it's November 1st, 2020. We're playing in Kansas City. And I tell that's the only game that we're playing with fans because of COVID.
Right.
My mom and my girl go, and my girl was pregnant at the time, 6 months.
Unreal. Wow.
So I hit I think a 39-yarder, and then second quarter starts, and they yell punt, and I think it was at the time I thought it was like a 51, 52, and I tell the coach, I tell Boyer, screw it, let's kick it. He's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, and I just start running on the field. I don't even let him decide. I'm like, yeah, let's kick. And he's like, oh, punt, oh, field goal on, let's go.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I mishit the ball. I literally thought I was not going to reach it. And I'm like, man, I'm about to be embarrassed on national TV. And I couldn't see over the offensive lineman because they're so tall.
Yeah.
And so I started asking, I'm like, did I make it? And they're like, bro, I know. I started asking, did I reach it?
Yeah.
And they're like, bro, you made it. I was like, hell yeah. So that was a pretty cool, neat experience. And, you know, for Coach Boyer to have that confidence in me early on, that was pretty sweet.
So in your brief time in the XFL, did you get to meet The Rock?
No, I did not, because I wish I could have. But at the time, it was Vince McMahon that was the owner.
Oh, right. Yes. I forgot. I get my WWE Attitude Era superstars mixed up in my brain sometimes. So, which is really a shame, because I remember I did watch a lot of wrestling back then.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have any great, and you don't have to name the league if you don't want to, you know, throw anybody under the bus, but do you have any great, like, boys in the bus stories, you know, getting fed, like, you know, a broken down bus someplace, just some real bush league, minor league kind of thing that's ever happened in your career, Serge? And this can go back to college. Like, it doesn't, like, we don't need to name names, but if you got a real good one, like a broken down bus or something, we'll take it.
Not that I can think of, you know, even when we're in college, I mean, we took those 12-hour bus rides, but take some NyQuil, knock out.
Right. No noise canceling headphones back then. Hey?
Right. And now we upgraded from NyQuil to tequila, right? To knock out on the plane ride. But no, I can't think of, you know, I've been very lucky that, you know, nothing like that has happened. So
a big focus for you in the off season is helping kids and helping youth football. Mm-hmm. You mentioned you do camps. Just what makes that so important to you, to giving back to the football community and being involved in that, and how do you get hooked up with you for a virtual camp?
Yeah, so when I first signed to West Texas A&M when I was 18 years old, I didn't really have a lot of coaching, and kicking has become a little bit expensive if you want to go to a kicking coach, right? So I just want to give a reasonable price to where, like, kids don't, it's not like an arm and a leg that, you know, you have to pay just to go for a camp. And what frustrates me, some camps, they're like $400 or $500 for 2 hours and you don't even learn anything. You just compete. So, and it's just, I'm like, no, my goal is to help a kid develop his technique. And if he can get his school paid for by kicking a football, it's a win for me, right? So if any kids want to reach out, they can reach out my social media, you know, and we can communicate, and I can do some coaching through there.
That's awesome. It's huge you giving back like that, Serge.
Appreciate it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome, my man. One last thing I had for you. Speaking of the kids, I got my 7-year-old's not so much into football. My 3-year-old is. Okay. He's got tiny little legs. What can I tell him to be more like you? Because he knows how to read the back of my jersey. He barely reads, but he knows that says Sergio. So what can I tell him to make him a kicker at 3?
Honestly, if you can get him to playing soccer from a young age,
I hooked him up for that.
There you go.
Parenting win, my man.
Yes, because it'll automatically he'll have the base and the foundation of how to kick a ball. And 2 is soccer. It'll build your quads, your hamstrings, and your calves. You know, you'll have that condition. So here in the States, for the most part, they go get the kicker from the soccer team. Why? Because they have the foundation of how to kick it, right? So if he can start doing that, it'll be an easy transition.
Fantastic. Can't wait. He'll be wearing hopefully number 14 in honor of you, my man. So
I appreciate that.
I love it. This was everything I dreamed it would be from the first time you came on in 2015 and saved Winnipeg's kicking game. So Sergio, again, thank you so much, my man. It was an absolute blast, an absolute pleasure. Best of luck at Edmonton this season. The Elks are now my second favorite team.
Shop Plato's Closet tax-free August 2nd through 4th for back-to-school styles. We sell the trendy, gently used styles you need to make a difference in the world and in your wallet for back-to-school shopping. Save up to 70% off regular retail prices by choosing recycled styles. Save even more when you shop tax-free this weekend. Make a change that others can respect and repeat. Shop Plato's Closet in North Charleston and West Ashley this year for your back-to-school looks. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.